Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Jack Remington with Quintessence Productions, LLC, and we're doing a segment for quintessenceprotv@gmail.com. We're recapping our Week 2 progress in the NFL 2019 season. We got some good, some bad, some real ugly, and our Week 3 predictions. Let's recap what we did in Week 2. In the Super Contest simulation, we won 2 and lost 3. We did win with the Cleveland game. We did win with the Buffalo game, but we lost the other 3. We had New England Patriots in their survivor pool. They demolished the Dolphins, so we're still alive in the survivor pool. For Week 3 in the survivor pool this week, we're taking the Dallas Cowboys for the Miami Dolphins. I'm just keep riding against Miami or the Jets, one of those two teams every week. But the dilemma is going to come when I can't use the same team twice. We also lost on the Jets second half. We're getting Jets a bunch of points in the second half against the Cleveland Browns, and we're getting the Jets 5.5 for the second half, and they couldn't score not one thing. And it was Cleveland 7, the Jets 5.5 second half. So we're still alive in the $100 free roll thing I signed up for 3 weeks ago, and we'll see how we do this week. This Week 3, we got a dog ticket. Bow wow wow, dog ticket. We're taking, and the first video didn't render. We had taken Jacksonville plus the 1.5. They were hosting Tennessee, and here's the screenshot of that we had taken Jacksonville. We were taking Baltimore plus 6 at Kansas City. I think that the Kansas City is very, very good, and they're all probably correct. Mahomes can't be stopped, but I think Baltimore can score some points too. Kansas City's not known for its defense. The line has dropped in the live betting markets. It's now Kansas City minus 5.5. There was a 5 on the 5 dimes. There was a 5 on some of the other offshore sites. I can see this thing getting down to 4 game time because people are starting to jump on Baltimore's bandwagon. Okay, game 3, we're taking the Carolina Panthers plus 3 at Arizona. Now, Arizona hasn't won a game. And we'll talk about the winless teams in a second. Carolina's 0-2. The coach is on a hot seat. Coach River, he walked out on the press conference meeting whenever we kept asking about Cam Newton. He's got really walked out. He's very upset, very frustrated. But I think he's a very good coach. He's an experienced coach. They have an experienced team. They're just as good as anybody else. I know I picked against them a couple times already, and I've won. I'm picking against Carolina because I saw a downward trend. Like I've told everybody in the very first videos, Cam Newton has not been the same since he got hurt a couple years ago. And they're just going to ride to death. They're just going to just grind that poor man out. I don't even know who the quarterback is for Carolina. I was looking at a spot play, and I'm getting 3 points, and they've both been 0-1 for that game. But we're going to take Carolina in a big upset. Everybody's jumping on Arizona. More money's coming in on Arizona than not, and you'll see the public bets. When you scroll down, stop and freeze frame to Carolina, Arizona, you'll see everybody jump on Arizona. Well, I'm going to jump on Carolina. I think they're a more experienced team, and Arizona's minus Patrick Peterson. He's about the best defensive back in football. Game number 4. This is the one I actually caught the most grief off of. You would think I'd catch the grief off the Monday night game, and we'll get to that in a bit, but this is the one I got the most grief off. We're taking this is the one game I caught the most grief off of. We're taking the New Orleans Saints +4 at Seattle. Okay, Seattle's 2-0, and oh, Russell Wilson this, Russell Wilson that, but they are number 20 in the NFL for yards per game on offense. If you take Russell Wilson away on his scrambling, okay, they're number 29 out of 32 teams in the NFL. Okay, if you take Russell Wilson away, period, they're the worst team in football on offense. I know I had Seattle on the live play. I know I had picked them against Pittsburgh. I know all that. I bet against Seattle week 1 with Cincinnati getting 9.5 points. That was for a reason. That was a point spread play. But Cincinnati almost won that game. Cincinnati should have won that game. Had Marvin Lewis been the coach, they would have won that game. I just think that Seattle's overrated. It took every trick they had in the book to escape with the win versus Cincinnati in week 1. They had to pull a rabbit out of their hat to win that game week 1. They had to pull some rabbits out of their hat against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh was going toe-to-toe with them with no Ben Roethlisberger. Sean Payton, on the other hand, was one of only 3 active coaches that's playing over 600 ball as a winning percentage coach. That needs to be counted into as a variable. I think Sean Payton is a very, very good coach. He's in the top 5 right now for active coaches behind Belichick and a couple other coaches. I'm telling you, he's going to game plan. He's going to platoon, or he's going to rotate Hill and Bridgewater as quarterbacks. They're going to do Wildcat. You heard it here first. Sean Payton's going to pull some rabbits out of his hat, and I like the 4 points that everybody's all over Seattle. Matter of fact, you can get New Orleans +4.5 now. So on the live marks, but remember, the Westgate Hilton, the line is frozen, and it stays there. It's static. It can't move. And we've already got 2 wins that way. Got a win the first week and got a win last week. We took Cleveland -2.5, and it was a 10 by game time against the Jets. So there was no way in God's earth I was going to get the Jets 10 points against any Cleveland Brown team you're fielding, even the playoff teams in the '80s. No way. I should have caught grief on, and this is the second worst one of my picks for my dog ticket. We're taking the Washington Redskins Monday night again +4 against Chicago Bears, and the line's going up to 4.5 and the 5 on Bovada. There's a 5.5 somewhere. Dip that down to 5. Washington's just terrible. Their coach is on the hot seat. Daniel Snyder wants a winner, the owner of the Redskins. Chicago's offense still doesn't scare anybody. I mean, they were lucky, extremely lucky to get out of Denver with a win. And of course, we had Denver as underdog, but that on the live play, not on the contest. Washington +4, Case Keenum. Everybody bashes the guy, but he's serviceable. He's turning into what they call a journeyman quarterback, and he's just as good as anybody else. Trubisky, I'm not sold. I still think Case Keenum may be the better quarterback. And we're getting home dog +4. They're 0-2, and Chicago should be 0-2, and but they're not. They did win the game. You got to give them credit when they win the game. So this is our dog ticket barking. Jacksonville +1.5, Baltimore +6.5, Carolina +3, New Orleans Saints +4, and Washington Redskins home dog +4. Now we're going to talk about some details here. Okay, both weeks. I cannot remember a week or a season where the first 2 weeks the underdogs versus the favorites won exactly 10-6 2 weeks in a row. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I went to a total dog ticket. I passed on some games, and we'll talk about the games I passed in a minute. But item number 2 I want to talk about. This week 3 is the hardest week to handicap. There's 9 teams that are winless. If you take Arizona, there's 8 teams that Arizona's got a tie. They're 0-1-1. You take out Arizona, and then you got 8 teams that are 0-2. For them to go 0-3, their season is just about over. Now the general manager and the front office staff are looking for ways not to pay performance bonuses to its wide receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, that kind of stuff. The linebacker for interceptions, and they just tell him, hey, look, we're 0-3. We're just gonna, we're gonna rescind this. And they ask the players nicely if they'll do it. Most of them say no now with the way the sports agents and the players union work. In my time, they would just say, okay, yeah, well, we're going for the team. Not so anymore. We're talking big money, and this is not a criticism against the players or the NFL system. I'm telling you, this is how it is. They know they're 0-3. The chances of making the playoffs, just to get there as a wild card team, as a backdoor, 5 teams got to lose the last 2 weeks, and you got to win by a point system, even if it's a tie. That your chances of making the playoffs are 4.5% if you go 0-3. These teams are the 0-2 or the 0-1 teams that are in dire straits. This is the week that they must win, and the history tells us that most of them are not going to win. There's some are going to fall to 0-3 or possibly 0-2-1. So, having said that, week 3 is the hardest week to handicap. This is going to be the hardest week 3 to ever handicap, and that's why I took a dog ticket. In times of trouble, remember, 3 things can happen when you're handicapping an NFL football game, and only 2 of them are good, and they are the favorite's going to beat the snot out of your team, okay, the team that's giving the points, okay. But the other 2 things is the favorite could beat the snot out of your team that you're betting against. But however, if you take the underdog, they get covered but just not win. And the third thing, which is a good thing, the underdog can beat the favorite outright. So remember, 3 things can happen in the NFL football game, and 2 of them are good. So we're taking the dog ticket, and I'm kind of excited to see how I do with it. I'm usually a favorite pounder. I like to pound favorites. I did not play these monstrous favorites. I did not play the New England Patriots minus 22.5 versus the hapless Jets. Although Bill Belichick, he was on a press conference. He says, "We're going to play 60 minutes of football." He's going to make Tom Brady play the whole game, and if Tom Brady slacks off, he will yell at him. He doesn't treat Tom Brady any different than he does anybody else. That's what makes him great. And I stayed away from. I was tempted. I was staying away from the Cowboys minus 21.5 versus the Dolphins. The reason why I stayed away is because I couldn't hear what Jerry Jones, the owner, the Cowboys, had to say about this game. Jerry Jones is liable to come out and say something stupid to happen. Jason Garrett shaking in his boots. I mean, you want to talk about a dead man? He's been walking for as long as he's had that job. And I'm not being disparaging against Jason Garrett. I'm being disparaging against Jerry Jones. He's a chicken scratch owner of the Cowboys. I can picture Jerry Jones saying something like, "Well, just only play, just get up 10-0 and then take out Dak Prescott or take out the Elliott, take out the lineman and save him for the next game." I can see Jerry Jones get Jason Garrett in the corner and whispering that to him. I mean, he's done stuff like that before. Jimmy Johnson was standing up to him, saying, "No, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm playing my team, and this is what I'm putting out on the field, and that's it." And Jimmy Johnson was, to me, of all time, the second best coach in NFL football behind Bill Belichick. And then Jerry Jones, he fired him in 1998. He just won his second Super Bowl in a row because they got in a 4-hour drunken bar argument in Tampa. They just won the Super Bowl. Jerry just said, "Well, you know what? I could get a monkey to run the team." And Jimmy Johnson took offense to that, and rightfully so. I think Jerry Jones is a terrible owner, and I can't wait till he sells a team. And I hope he never makes it back to the Super Bowl. So, it's always a great day to be an American. Thank you. And entertainment only. Stay with your means. Have fun. See you next week.